Hello there. So today I will be taking a look at and reviewing the NECA Serpent Hunter Predator. So first things first, we're gonna be taking a look at the box of the figure. So as we could see at the front, you could see the figure, and along with this little piece here, feature saying the media it comes from, which is the 2010 Aliens vs Predator game. And here it has a picture of him, Serpent Hunter, over 30 points of articulation, dual wrist blade, sword, and shuriken. Apologies. And here's a warning sign for choking hazards. And on the very bottom here, it's, I believe, all the people who worked on the figure. And then up there, Serpent Hunter with another picture of him. And then on the back, there's another big picture of Serpent Hunter along with a bunch more stuff, mentioning the weapons, and another name for the Predator, and also a little sort of bio. You could sort of pause right now and read it. And then it also features the other figures available in the line, or the series I should say, which is, of course, Serpent Hunter, Elder, and Youngblood. And then over here there's a barcode with some more random stuff, like the copyright, I think, and a couple more warnings. So, yeah, that is pretty much it with the box. Now we will be taking a look at the actual figure inside. So this is Serpent Hunter out of the box, and basically this is how you get him out of the box with no attachments or accessories on him, no plasma caster, no knife, basically just the bare figure. So, when you take a look at this figure, first thing you notice is that there are a lot of jarring differences from the other Aliens vs Predator figures they have, which most of them come from the movie, unlike this guy, which comes from the video game. So first difference you obviously notice is the biomask. The biomask is a xenomorph looking biomask, though has the similar shape as in over here, and the laser and this thing over here, but the main draw or main attraction to the figure is the head. And then another thing you'll notice is the body armor. You'll notice that he has, instead of usually a metallic silver or a silver with some sort of different color dry brushing, it's black with a interesting added red strap there. Not red strap, sorry. A added red line or red paint there over there. And then two brown straps which are absent on the other AVP Predators. And as you also notice, this loincloth piece is also very different and unique, in the sense that the only piece that it carries over is mainly this, and even this piece doesn't quite really look like the others. It's a bit shorter than normal, and as you can see, there's some more red paint, and it's mainly a jet black. It's a very dark black color. And then as you see, the loincloth also looks very different. There's usually not this much cloth on it, if that makes sense. And there's also the very noticeable red paint and some bone paints there. And also the added skull trophies over here. Another thing you'll notice is the pad armor, or the shoulder pads, I should say. This is a very different shoulder pad than the one we're used to. This looks more like a samurai-ish shoulder pad, not really the more futuristic armor-looking shoulder pad that we're used to. And like I said again, it's mainly a blackish color, which is pretty absent, strangely, on all the other figures. All the other figures are either gunmetal gray or bluish gray or brownish gray, or like the Youngblood, it's just silver, just very pure silver. But no, this guy has a very black color scheme, which is something I really like. Black is my favorite color. And another thing that's mainly different from him is the shoulder pieces. These shoulder pieces are a bit different on the EVP figures. They do have something like this, but it's not like this. It's usually not a strap. I think, I'm not too sure, but they're not like this. They don't look like this. They're mainly armor looking pieces, but as you can see, this is mainly a strap. Just a strap with some bones on it. And the other thing is the wrist gauntlet. The wrist gauntlet doesn't quite look like this. It's more of the modern Ultimate Editions where it's just retractable, whereas the other AVP Predators are the interchangeable ones, the ones where you have to take them out and plug them in. This one, no, you just have to slide it to extend it. And same thing with the wrist gauntlet. His wrist gauntlet seems to be very beefy and doesn't seem to share the exact same design as the other AVP Predators. You'll see these differences later in the height comparisons. And another thing is these massive straps. The other Predators do feature this exact same strap, but it does not look like this. It's much thinner and it's usually connected to this piece. Usually it's connected to this piece and it's wrapped around the leg in like one string. But no, this guy has very thick straps on him for some reason. And then another thing you'll notice is on the back. He still does have this shoulder piece, which is very common in the other AVP Predators, but in the back you'll notice that this is bare. Usually there's going to be another, this is supposed to be a whole armor. The only part that's supposed to be bare on the upper body will be this. But as you can see, that does not seem to be the case. It probably also is because he does not carry, or he does not come with a combi stick, so no point in the extra armor here. Because the point of the extra armor here was there's like a little clip here where you could attach a combi stick to, but clearly he does not have that. And once again, going back to the wrist blades, something I also noticed, the wrist blades have a very unique design, a design that's not present on, as far as I'm aware, it's not present on any other Predator figure. Even the Ultimate Editions do not have wrist blades quite this big. They usually look more like the classic Jungle Hunter ones, which this guy does not have. He has very big wrist blades. Even the AVP Predators are usually just very long, extended versions of the Jungle Hunter Predator claws. And then the more jarring difference is the leg armor. Usually there's usually a knee piece as well that reaches all the way here. It's usually up until the knee, but as you can see, that doesn't seem to be the thing here. It's usually just brown here. It's just the skin. There's not much armor here. Also the shin, yeah, this piece, the shin piece, or the thing that goes around the shin to the calf is also very strangely very different. And once again, it has the very black color scheme, which I really like. And then the other piece here, this is also present with all the other AVP Predators, but it does not look like this. They also have the knife sheath, which is only absent on the Elder Predator, but present on every other one. The others also are sculpted like this, but as you can see, this one also has added paint. It's mainly a very dark black wash with some red lines here and there. Mine is indeed a bit off-centered, as you can see. But yeah, no, they're mainly there. And yeah, I forgot to mention this. This is also the necklace. This is pretty fairly common in the AVP Predators. I think apologies. I think both Celtic and Chopper and the Ancient Warrior are present of this. And another piece he's mainly missing that's present in a lot of the others is the sort of Egyptian looking piece. As you can see, it's mainly just black, some sort of black armor leather replacing it. That's not removable. That is part of the figure sculpt. But yeah, so as you can see, a very different, despite of being a very similar Predator, because in terms of the body, that is basically the exact same body mold and the exact same type of hands, and even the exact same how do I say this? The exact same skin scheme. A bit different, a bit darker than most from what I've seen, or a bit lighter. I'm not too sure, but it's very similar. So that's most of the retreading, just the sculpt. But as you can see, even in the sculpt, there's a lot of differences, like the wrist gauntlets, the loincloth, the sort of lower leg armor. This is basically the exact same. It's just very dark, once again, and even the sort of bicep, the shoulder pad and the bicep piece here, that is also very different. So that is one of the reasons this figure is very sought after and extremely rare. This thing is like what? Easily over $100. Some of them even reaching nearly $300. As crazy as that sounds, yes, that is true. I luckily got mine for around 7,000 USD. No, 7,000 Philippine peso, but he was worth around 130 USD. I'm not sure how much exactly, but yeah, he was a very pricey figure. So, but there's also a reason for it. He's very unique compared to the others. Even his dreadlocks is purely silver. The others usually are a mix of like copper, gold, and silver. So yeah, as you can see, despite this not being an ultimate edition, or the fact that it came from basically a very of a line where the figures are mostly just mixed and matched around with some different paints here and there, he is still a unique figure even in a line or wave like that, which is something I really like. So, but yeah, enough about this, about the detail. We're gonna be taking a look at the accessories next. So now is time for the accessories. Now this is probably the part where this figure is lacking the most. As you can see, he doesn't come with much. The others come with a lot more. So first we're going to be taking a look at the little knife here. This is more of a dagger than an actual knife. So the knife itself is also pretty unique compared to the others. While it is the exact same sculpt, it is a very different paint scheme. Usually this is just a plain old copper. No, it's usually just a very dark brown with some copper instead of red. But instead, as you can see, it's almost gunmetal, metallic blackish gray with some red. Actually, I do have another figure nearby that does have this. Give me a second for that. So, yeah, I stand corrected. Even some of the paint is a bit different. This is how the normal dagger with all the other AVP Predators look. This is his. His is much red, more dark, compared to the others. Actually, I do think I like the gold one more, but the red at least makes it look a bit different and certainly unique. Still a very cool dagger. Don't really pose it with him much though. And then up here is the shuriken. Now this shuriken, I'm not a big fan of it. It does look cool, but I don't really display any of my predators with it. It's a pretty lame figure in my opinion. It's not really that. It's cool looking, but yeah, nothing really much. It's just a shuriken that I've seen many times. You only need one, to be honest. So yeah, nothing really interesting there. It is painted a bit differently. Usually I believe it's copper, but here it's more red. That's also another theme with this guy. There's like a lot of red all throughout him for some reason, like red lines out of nowhere. And then for accessories, for hands, he has two of them. He has two fist hands, which come on the figure out of the packaging, and these look pretty cool. Some of my favorite Predator type hands are usually the fists. They're just some yellow with some brown on them with some very black fingernails. And then he also has a pair of gripping hands, same exact type of scheme, just some yellow with some black nails painting with brown paint all throughout them. They look pretty cool, but I don't really use them. I'm probably just gonna give them to other predators that need to grip on something. And then finally, last but not least, is the shoulder cannon. The shoulder cannon here is pretty basic in sculpt, and surprisingly, unlike the others, it's similar to the others. It's morely lacking in paint, I would say. The fact that it's missing most of the copper here. It's just the same exact plasma sculpt as Celtic. Yeah, it's just the exact same plasma sculpt as Celtic, and they sort of just basically they just made it dark, just really dark, and I guess they forgot some detailing, such as the copper here and there. Still pretty cool looking plasma caster. Certainly a bit different since the others are mainly just a bit lighter than this, but yeah. Nothing really much unique about the plasma caster other than the outstanding sculpt. And like I said, this is also one of the repeated pieces. This is the exact same sculpt for every backpack actually. Like if you remove this piece, they're the exact same. The only differences between each plasma caster is the head. But yeah, in just a moment I will be showing you how to put all the accessories on him. So how to put on the accessories. So for the interchangeable hands, you just sort of grab and you just plug. Now mine is a bit loose, so it's easily plugs in, and it also plugs out just as easily. You just need to pull it. Don't pull too hard. Might as well do it with the other hand. Don't pull too hard and don't push in too hard. Just sort of go gently, and then there, you'll eventually get it on. and attaches right back out. And if you are having trouble to plug the hands in, just sort of run them under some hot water, and they should be fixed in no time. Let me just put on the other hand. And then over here, the knife as well. So you just sort of slot it in here. Also, make sure that the sort of claw here is facing this way. It's supposed to go this way, not like this. I'm not sure actually, but this is how mine goes in because it's a bit stiff in there when I try to put it in. So yeah, I would usually just place it like this. I would place it with a sort of spike at the end, and because of the fact that it sort of runs into the little loincloth, before plugging it I would usually bend the knee and then put it in like this. I don't know if other collectors have to do that, but with mine I have to, since it sort of doesn't plug in and it's a bit stiff. You just sort of have to wiggle it out to get it out as well. So yeah, there, and as you can see it sort of runs into the cloth there, but doesn't become a problem anymore. And then finally the backpack, you sort of have to move the hair a lot around. And then there's two peg holes, this and this, so obviously the top peg goes up here, bottom peg goes there. You just sort of have to plug and then plug. It's a bit loose on mine because I do not know why. This is supposed to be brand new, but there's a lot of issues with mine. Not really too many, but yeah, it's sort of having trouble plugging in here. But that's basically how you just plug, and then you plug the top one. Usually that's how I would do it, and since you need to, first you plug the bottom and then top. Sorry, it was sort of off camera. And then also for the dreadlocks, they sort of do get in the way, so you sort of have to articulate and adjust them around like that, so you get a much better fit. So with almost all his accessories, actually minus the extra hand and the shuriken, this is how he touches, or that's how you attach everything to him. So now we might as well move on to height comparisons. So now for height comparisons, I do not have a ruler with me, and very unfortunately, I can't seem to find it. But I do know how tall this guy is precisely. He's around 8.5 inches, almost 9 actually. And as for comparisons, I only actually have two figures I am able to compare him to, because the rest of my collection is boxed up right now. The only ones that are not boxed up are my Predators. And since I'm doing this on a school night, I have to sort of be quick, so I only brought out two figures to compare him to, which is the other Series 17 figures, which is Elder Predator over there. Beautiful figure, just a very annoying one because of the cape and the mask. And Youngblood, my second favorite behind Serpent Hunter. Really cool because of the little sort of Xeno staff he has. Might have to fix that. But yeah, so here he is next to the other NECA AVP Predators, and as you can see, he stands pretty decently, not decently, he stands perfectly in scale with them, since they are from the same line. And because his knees are a bit bent, he is supposed to technically be the tallest out of all of them. Like if you put him next to Youngblood over here, he does look a bit taller. I don't know if that's just the angle of the mask, but from my view, he does look taller. From the camera, not so. He looks only slightly taller, but I can assure you, he is a bit bigger in real life. Like, he would actually be a lot taller, but yeah. So that is it for height comparisons. Now let's move on to the final one. Articulation. Now for articulation. Now, this is where I think Serpent Hunter exceptionally shines in. Because of the fact that he's not as heavily armored as the others, he has a lot more free motion than all of them combined, actually. He's a very articulated figure. It also helps that mine came a bit loose, probably just something to do with the heat and the fact that the packaging got a bit busted during shipping. So yeah, so first the head, he could look up pretty well, which is something that my other Predators have trouble that he also can easily do. He does get a bit pulled back by the hair, so he can't really look up. You sort of have to hold the hair down for him to even look up, and he could surprisingly, like, he can't really look down morally straight ahead. It's mostly of a angle, but he can't look straight down to like something smaller than him. But he can tilt his head really well, tilt, and go side to side. And now for the arms, Since this shoulder piece is really small, he could actually go completely T-pose, unlike my other predators, because of the fact that, here, I'll just show an example. The others have this type of pauldron armor, which is also very flexible, but when you articulate it, you sort of press on it, which sort of hinders some of the articulation. But Serpent, not having that style of pauldron armor, can move a lot higher than that. As you can see, it's not as high as quite as the other free arm, but hey, it's a lot better than the others. Let's put the arm down. And there's also a 360 bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, just can't really go all the way because of the gauntlet and the strap. And yeah, here he also has a gauntlet articulation and wrist movement. Since it's on a ball joint, you can sort of just go in a circle. And then as for torso, since the bottom torso really doesn't do much, we're just gonna go for both. With both articulation of the torso, he could sort of look down that much, which is pretty good. And then back quite a lot. Another thing I forgot to mention, because of the fact that he is not limited, since there's no armor here, there's nothing connected to this piece here, because in a lot of the predators, another example here, they have this piece connected over here, which hinders their articulation a whole lot, which I'm sort of considering just sort of cutting them a bit so they don't get in the way anymore. But yeah, so yeah, they could go back that much, forward this much, and side to side, not really using the top torso, just the top one, just not using the bottom torso, just the top. So yeah, now the legs, he could kick about only that much high, which is still pretty good, considering there's a lot of hindrance, and he could only kick about to the side that much. And unlike the other predators, since this guy is already fairly loose, and doesn't seem to be breaking on the groin area anywhere, I do feel sort of confident making him do a split. And I'm only going to do it on one leg, because the other leg is severely hindered. He can almost do a split. This one's just very loose, hence why it keeps going down. So you could make him do a split, it's just very loose and very constricted. There's also some thigh swivel, and then some upper knee swivel, and he has double jointed knees. Once again, no swivel down here though. I always thought they had swivel down there for some reason. And then he has, and then finally ankle articulation. Can't really go down that much, but can go up quite a decent bit. Actually, not that much as well. And then side to side is mostly its strong point, and another 360 articulation. I just don't want to force it because I thought it was gonna pop out there. So yeah, this is my review of the Serpent Hunter Predator. Do I think it's a good figure? Absolutely. I think it's fantastic. I just don't think it's worth the insane prices some people are making it go for. I do think this guy should go for over 100. Max is 200 though. Anything higher than 200 is, I will have to honestly say, a bit of a scam, because holy hell is no figure go, unless it's like a transform, like one of those die-cast type figures. I do not think any figure should be going for 200, especially one like this. Like, this figure, as cool as it is, it's just NECA. Like, NECA makes amazing figures, but they're mainly amazing detailed figures. Like, detailing in general is their strong point. But in terms of an actual figure, yeah, no, NECA has some weak points in that. So yeah, while I do think he's an amazing figure, easily worth the $130 I bought him for, I don't think, if your best choice to get him for is like over 200 bucks, do not try to get him. That is not worth it at that point. That is too much. Because for context, $200 in my country is already over 10,000 Philippine pesos. So yeah, and I've seen this guy go for almost 300 sometimes. I saw a guy on Facebook Marketplace selling him for 260. Even if that was brand new, guaranteed, sealed, and authentic, I am not paying for that. No sane person is, like, unless you're extremely rich, then go maybe, but yeah, no, I'm happy with this, even with the amount of issues he comes with, which aren't really that extreme though. There's just some looseness here and there, and there are ways to fix it, which is the good thing. If there was no way to fix it, I'm just gonna cry. But yeah. So it is a very cool and awesome figure, I would have to say. And I do 100% think it is very much worth it. Yeah, that's enough about my little rant at the end. So yeah, the questions are, is it worth it? Absolutely. Is it worth the money? I would say yeah, because you could still resell it for a decent price, even if it's loose. It still goes for like $50 to $70, even if it's loose. So yeah, is it a awesome figure? Totally.